boys and girls, we're back. So today I want to add another strategy to being the boss of your reading, okay? So I want to tell you something else that you need to do when you are the boss of your own reading. So today I want to teach you that when you think you've read a tricky word correctly, you have to be a boss and check it. You do a triple check. Does it make sense? Does it look right? Does it sound right? So we added one. We did a check it, double check it. Now we're doing a triple check, okay? So we're going to say, does it make sense? Does it look right? And does it sound right, okay? So let's go ahead and review everything we've already learned because we don't want to forget everything that we've learned before when we're learning new things. We want to stop at the first sign of trouble. So make sure that if you come to a word you don't know, you're not just keeping on going and doing a bad habit. You're stopping, okay? And you want to try something. Try one of those good habits that we've been talking about because they are tools to help you. And then yesterday we talked about you want to try something else to get the job done. So we talked about if you try a screwdriver and a screwdriver doesn't work, you're going to go find another tool. We also talked about that if you're playing a video game and you don't pass the level, you're not just going to quit the game. You're going to keep trying something different to pass that level. And lastly, we're going to check it and do a triple check. Does it make sense? Does it sound right? And does it look right? Okay, so we did, does it look right? Does it make sense? And now we have to add, does it sound right? Okay, so when we read the sentence, does that word sound right in the sentence? So yesterday I told you to go and get in a good book, and I told you that I wanted you to read. I wanted you to practice using these good habits and these tools. So I hope that you were able to find some tricky words. So I did the same thing because I love to read. That's probably the reason that I love to teach reading to kids, because I love to read. So when I was reading yesterday, I came across some really big words, some really tricky words, and some really hard words. And I was trying to figure out what could I do that were good habits and tools that Mrs. Egers had taught me to figure out those tricky words. So I'm going to go through that with you, and I hope that you found some words. And if you did, you can post them to Dojo, Class Dojo, and you can send them to your teacher because we would love to see the words that you are figuring out. So I looked at this word, and I found the little word super because I knew the word super. And then I found the word or. So then I needed to crash the word parts together, right? So I said supervisor. Supervisor. And then I was like, that doesn't sound right. I've never heard of a supervisor. It looks like supervisor. Okay. But supervisor wouldn't make sense, and it doesn't sound right. So then I went back to my chart and I said, maybe I need to try this vowel right here. Maybe I need to try this vowel two ways. So I tried the it sound, and now I'm going to try the I sound. Supervisor or supervisor. Oh, yeah, it looks like supervisor. Is that a word I've heard before? Yep, I've heard of a supervisor. And would that word make sense? Absolutely. So I know that a supervisor is kind of like the boss. They're in charge of everything, and they kind of make sure that everything's going like it's supposed to. So I had to use two strategies for that. I had to use two good habits. I had to use crashing word parts together, and I had to use try it two ways. So remember, sometimes a strategy doesn't work, or sometimes you need more than one strategy to figure out a tricky word. All right, and then I got to this word, and this word really stumped me. I'm not going to lie. So when I came to this really hard word, I had to use a lot of strategies. I'm not going to lie. So I saw that I had the digraph ch, ch, ch. And then I saw a little part of the word I knew, or I thought I knew. And that was ein. Okay? And I thought this word was machine. And then I said, that doesn't sound right at all. I've never heard of the word machine. So could I just keep reading? Absolutely not, because it's not going to make sense. It doesn't sound right. And I mean, it looks right, but it doesn't follow any of my other rules. So I had to get back to work. So then I did a picture clue. And I looked up and I saw this big object that was helping the supervisor make things. And the sentence that I saw is they use the, and it was this word, to make something new. So I had to go back and I had to kind of figure out what would make sense. What word looks like this and has these sounds and would make sense in this sentence and matches that picture? Remember, it was a big object, okay? And they were using it to make something new. So they use the to make something new. Well, I know that you use a machine to make something new. So let's see if that sounds right. They use the machine to make something new. That looks right. But these sounds, you know what happens sometimes in the English language? They do crazy stuff. They do crazy stuff that makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense that this says sheen. It doesn't. Okay, so this is one of those snap words, okay? This is one of those words that don't make sense, okay? That no matter how many times we try to sound it out, it's not going to work, okay? We've just got to put that word up into our brain and keep it there and know that every time I see that word is machine, okay? So sometimes there's a strategy called skip it and come back. So I'm going to show you the strategy of skip it and come back. They use the blank to make something new. They use the to make something new. So see, I'm using some of those sounds too. And so then I figured out with the picture clue and skipping it and thinking what would make sense that that word is machine, okay? So that word was tricky. I had to use everything in my toolbox. I had to use everything that Mrs. Squires have taught me to figure out that tricky word. All right, then I came to the last word. And I started to chunk this and find parts of the word I know. So I found this was con. And then I found this part was struck. Struck. Okay. And then I had to figure out this little part. And I went over this sound the other day on my Teams call because this is a tricky sound too. Construction. Well, that doesn't make any sense. So on my Teams call the other day, I taught my friends that T-I-O-N says shun. And again, that's a part that just doesn't make any sense. Kind of like machine, okay? But T-I-O-N and S-I-O-N are always going to say shun. So stick that up in your brain. That'll help you. So then I learned construction. Construction. So I had to use a lot of tools and remember a lot of things to figure out these words. So I hope that you did the same thing when you were in your book yesterday. So I want to change our chart just a little bit. So I'm going to give it a new title. It's no longer good habits. It is tools for solving and checking hard words. So these are your tools, okay? I want you to use all these tools today and every day to figure out your words, okay? So here's what you're going to do. You're going to try something. You're going to try thinking about what's happening, checking the picture, think about what kind of word would fit, get a running start, try it many ways. Remember, we can try the vowels different ways and read it part by part and then crash it together, okay? So you're going to try those and then you're going to check it. Remember, we're doing a triple check now. We have to say, does it make sense? Does it sound right? And does it look right? So does it look right? Does it make sense? And now does it sound right? Okay? So when you're in your books today, we have big jobs as readers because remember, we're a boss now. We have to use all these tools to try and figure out our tricky words, and we can't stop until we do it, okay? And remember, share, cheer yourself on, be so excited, okay? So last but not least, we're going to go back to our Be a Boss of Your Own Reading song, and we're going to add a little bit to it today, okay? So we've got some more parts to it, okay? So if you think something's wrong, you gotta stop. If you think something's wrong, you gotta stop. If you think something's wrong and you say, what's going on? If you think something's wrong, you gotta stop. Then you try something else and don't give up. Then you try something else and don't give up. Then you try and you say, this job is mine. Then you try something else and don't give up. When you think you've got it right, you check it out. When you think you've got it right, check it out. When you think you've got it right, triple check with all your might. Does it make sense, sound right, look right? When you think you got it right, check it out. All right, so I want you to go and read again today, and I want you to check it out. Make sure that you're thinking, does it look right? Does it make sense? And does it sound right? All right, see you tomorrow.